Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, James.
It's time once again for Saturday morning's brightest sports show.
An hour full of football, laughs and insights galore.
Yes. But Blitz won't be on for another hour yet, so I think we've got time to knock off our show in the meantime.
Just get my sponsor at the top.
Excellent.
In today's show, the very best action from an incident-packed weekend in Serie A. James has the week's top stories. We have the week's big European action involving Italian clubs, including a trip to Vienna for the reigning European champions. Paul Ince looks back on an eventful month and a difficult 7 days. And we look forward to tomorrow's live clash between Milan and Napoli.
Thank you, Ken. Right, well, we'll be chatting to Paul Ince very shortly indeed. We start off this morning, though, with last weekend's Serie A action. Now, 3 games were actually brought forward last weekend to help teams who were facing UEFA Cup matches on Tuesday night. And it's that Saturday action that we see first. A roundup now with Kenneth Wolstenholme.
Fiorentina were handed the opportunity to open the scoring after 34 minutes when Jose Chamot handled Batistuta's cross. However, Chamot's blushes were spared when Batistuta missed the target. In the second half, Luis Oliveira was through on goal, but was denied by Marco Gianni's outstretched foot. Lazio's poorly executed offside trap gave Fiorentina another chance, but Paolo Negro's tackle denied Batistuta. Alessandro Grandoni's challenge wasn't so well timed and resulted in a red card for the young Lazio defender. The match ended level in every sense, goalless, and with both sides reduced to 10 men. Baiano was sent off for Fiorentina. Inter dominated this game. Massimo Taibi denied Paul Ince and then managed to recover in time to keep out Maurizio Gans as well. It's easy to see why the Piacenza goalkeeper is rated as one of Italy's finest. 7 minutes before the interval, Taibi turned villain. He hauled down Jocelyn Anglomar and Inter were awarded a penalty. However, Taibi redeemed himself by saving both Djorkaeff's penalty and Ince's follow-up. Shortly afterwards, Gianpietro Piavani made a meal out of nothing and Paul Ince was sent off. It was the Englishman's 3rd dismissal in his relatively short Serie A career. However, on the stroke of half-time, Marco Branca gave 10 men into the lead. Branca also set up Inter's second goal. His cross was beautifully controlled by Djorkaeff, and the Frenchman showed great composure to finish off the move. That made it 2 goals in 2 games for Djorkaeff. Piacenza had a chance to get back into the game, but found Gianluca Pagliuca in excellent form. In the last minute, Piavani was sent off for elbowing Sforza, and it ended 2-0 to Inter. Meanwhile, city rivals Milan were also aiming for maximum points. A win at Roma would take the Rossoneri back to the top of Serie A. Let's join the action with Gary Bloom.
This should be Rossi's ball, and Totti helps it down. There's danger here for Milan, and it's got in. What a finish by Totti. In for Daniel Fonseca. And he repays his coach's faith with a quite extraordinary goal. Look at the bend on that shot. And I think Rossi here was appealing for a handball there against Totti. Totti didn't hesitate, and the ball was swept into an unguarded net. Costa Curta, he's lost the ball. This is Scapioli. Help through to Balbo. And again Milan appealing for offside. No flag, and 2-0. It's another contentious goal. This time scored by Capioli. making his first Serie A appearance of the season. The Milan defence stood to a man and appealed for offside. Look at Baresi. Capioli didn't hesitate, and that's 2-0. Desai picking out Maldini. And only backing off. Oh, goodness me! I think the Roma defence were expecting a cross, and it was an outstanding shot by Paolo Maldini, who's yet to score this season. Was dipping all the while. Baggio. Eradio now. Robbie Baggio. Still no way back in the game for Milan. Eradio and Baggio combined effectively here. Sturkele with a clearance. Once again, the Milan defence seems to be underpopulated. It's 3, it's Balbo! Fourth goal in his first 5 Serie A games of the season. And surely it's all over now for Milan. Just the deftest of touches here by Abel Balbo. Well, Roma's last Serie A win over Milan in the capital came 11 years ago. Carlos Bianchi's side very close to victory now. Oh, almost a consolation goal for Robbie Baggio. Sturkele spilled the ball. But it has been a frustrating night for Milan.
So yet another setback for the stumbling champions. That defeat meant Milan slipped to 4th, Roma moved up to 2nd, and on Saturday night, Inter were top. However, a win for Juventus at Vicenza the following afternoon would see the reigning European champions reclaim first place in the table. Commentary here from Peter Brackley and Ray Wilkins.
Jugovic, the useful ball in for Padovano.
It's a long, sorry, Peter, it's a long time since I've done this Italian football, but I always used to speak about the first touch of players. And if you assess the first touch of Padovano there, the way he pulled it down, unfortunately we couldn't see it on the replay, but his first touch was quite exceptional. Here we go again. A good ball in from Deschamps. Look at that for a first touch. That's wonderful. And a good shot on the turn, just missing the target.
Ambrosetti. And a goal! Otero. Vicenza have the lead. Super awareness shown by the Uruguayan as he arrived in the 6-yard box. Juventus was struggling defensively, and he's taken full advantage.
Oh, it's a wonderful cross, Peter, isn't it?
Ambrosetti.
Yeah, Porini can't get with him. Ambrosetti, he just put it there saying, go and head that one in, and that really was a first-class goal. Otero, would have to be said, was very, very brave to get in there. He's putting his head in there where there's boots flying.
This is Jugovic. Off the post. Padovano. And scrambled away. What an escape.
That's a fine strike from Jugovic. If we see it again, you see how far it moves. It actually moves a hell of a long way. But Mondini goes one way, and there you see him change. He changes in mid-air.
Bassotto. Oh, kick back off the bar. Then Delivio and Sator able to clear nonchalantly.
Great stuff, Pete, isn't it? He just whacked that one across. I don't think he really knew where that was going. But poor old Mondini didn't know either.
Well, he was rescued by his own crossbar then. Zidane taking the kick. And forced in! Ferrara.
Yeah, Ferrara got the final touch, but a fantastic leap, Peter, by Padovano. I think it was Padovano anyway. Got a great leap and good header back across the box. And Ferrara just had to tap it into an empty net. Here we see Zidane with the corner kick. Yeah, I think it's Padovano, gets a great leap. And there's Ferrara just to tuck it into the corner of the net.
The goal in the first minute of the second half. Ambrosetti, the man there just in front of the goal line, can't keep it out. Delivio with the corner. Fatin. It was Amoruso who had the effort cleared off the line. Delivio again. So rousing second half. Juventus taking the game to Vicenza now. No question that they've come here determined to win this game. That was Amoruso. Viviani. Here's Viviani again. Going all the way through. Viviani's cross to Rossi. And it's there. Gazzetta.
It is marvellous, this game, and we're just saying there that Juventus are the only team that look like getting a goal, and there Gazzetta pops up and smashes one in the corner.
The substitute has done it, Gazzetta. And inspired, gambled by the coach to bring him on. This is Majita, played in for Viviani. Fantastic save by Rampula.
Wonderful action there, Peter. Majita shows a fantastic awareness as he takes the ball on his chest and into the penalty area. Viviani made a great run, but that's a beautiful little pass. What technique that is, and that's a wonderful save from Rampula.
Padovano onside, Vieri in the middle. Padovano! He's missed it.
You almost sound disappointed, Peter, that he's missed it.
I couldn't believe he had.
No, I couldn't believe it either. I think Vieri's not too happy either on his right-hand side.
So for the second year in a row, Juventus come unstuck at Vicenza. Excellent news for you at Inter, of course, Paul. The first time your team has been alone atop the table for, what, 5 years now?
Yeah, 5 years. It's very exciting stuff at Piero Gentili. We're not getting carried away though, James. You know,
No.
we've only played 4 games that we've played, five league games, and to be honest, we haven't played any of the big games yet. You know, this month we've got them to come. We've got Juventus, Parma, Fiorentina, and Milan in the space of about 5 weeks, I think. So if we can remain top after that, then we've got something going.
As you say, it is a tricky period coming up, and especially so because it now looks as though you're not going to be playing in any of those games as a result of that. I know you didn't want me to mention this,
No, I
but,
didn't, James, but I
that,
knew you would.
that sending off business. Well, I mean, you've got a lot to say about that, I imagine.
I haven't got a lot to say, but I just think this is
What actually happened? I mean, there was a bit of verbal to and fro.
I think Djokovic missed a penalty.
Yeah.
And
so did you.
to be honest, I should have scored from the rebound.
Yeah.
If I'd have scored, it probably wouldn't have happened. And then the geezer, Piovani, whatever his name was, come up to me and said something which, you know, I'm not going to repeat on TV because it's a kids' programme, of course, James, and there's a lot of people watching it, you know, a lot of kids watching it.
Not that many.
Not that many, but the ones that are, I'm not going to say it anyway. But and it wasn't nice, you know. It was a racist taunt and something that you know, I didn't like.
Right.
So, but after that was even worse, you know, because I went to grab him,
Right.
you know, and didn't touch him. And the funny thing is, he walked about a couple of paces, and then felt like he'd been shot. Someone shot him, you know. And the linesman was saying to him to get up.
Right.
And obviously he didn't, you know, rolling around still. Next minute, the referee, I don't think the referee saw the incident, what incident there was to see, and he called me over, sent me off. And to me, it was a disgraceful decision, a ridiculous decision.
Right.
Something that I'm not happy
Well,
with.
Piovani is since, I mean, from the pictures you see quite clearly that, you know, he kind of walks a bit and then remembers to fall over. Either that or you've got some kind of Vulcan mind weapon or something zapped him. But it could have been. But he actually admits, you know, Ince reached out and then I had a couple of paces and I decided whether I should fall over or not. So I decided to fall over.
We've seen it on TV, but obviously you can't use that in evidence. And for me, that's a big problem.
Inter are actually appealing, not just as a club, but I mean they are appealing against the decision and using indeed Piovani's own admittance of that.
Yeah, I think you've got to be sensible about the situation. You know,
Right.
when the player involved himself comes up and says it was down to me, and then we have all the TV evidence. You know, you cannot use it.
Right.
You've got to be sensible about the decision and make the right decision.
So anyway, as it stands at the moment, barring a last-minute change of mind, you're not actually going to play against Juve tomorrow night and Parma the week after. Two big games. What are you going to do instead?
I don't know, James. You know, I'll probably spend some time with the family.
Right.
Obviously, I'd rather be playing. I might do a bit of commentary for Channel 4.
Absolutely.
Apart from that, I try and get a couple of games of golf in. It all sounds nice, you know, Jones. But
Yeah, it's not really the weather for golf at the moment.
No, but hopefully it'll brighten up. But hopefully we'll make an appeal and it'll only be one game and it'll just be the Juventus game away. And I'll be back for the Parma game because they are big games.
Excellent. We'll be hearing more from you in a second or two. Right now, though, it is time for a break. But don't forget to join us again in a couple of minutes when we'll have all the rest of last Sunday's action plus the week's news.
Get ready to go ballistic with the hottest action-packed movie of the year. Travolta, Slater, Broken Arrow.
When you want to arrive in good shape, you can trust the wool that wears the wool mark.
This is about the air we breathe. This is the Saab 9000 Turbo, powered by the latest low-emission engine. And this is an emission-seeking missile. Saab 9000, limited emission, beyond the conventional.
And what do we have here?
Ah, good morning. Yes, that's what I call the VPP, the virtually perfect pub.
How cute. The Brits have discovered virtual reality just as it's virtually out of date.
Ooh. Wow, what a piece of work.
England 5, Germany 0, Jimmy.
Oh, that's for Wales.
You know, I bet they drink
Carling Black Label on the house. It's brewed longer to taste stronger. 4.1%, no less.
Well, I've got some pretty impressive statistics of my own.
Me too, big boy.
Carling Black Label. Bottoms up, the best-selling beer in Britain.
Charlie Tango, Charlie Wonder Base, SPA on board.
NatWest have a small business advisor in every high street branch.
Have you got another woman in there?
Oh, can't break it up.
From today, new Domestos Power Cleaner banishes even tough cooking stains. Now with more bleach, it has even more power to clean. And as it's from Domestos, it does even more. It kills germs as well. Good to know, isn't it?
Chris, never believe it.
Don't tell me.
I'm still in Belfast. Still in Inverness. Fishguard. Redruth. Bridlington. Somewhere down south. Chris, I'm in Scarborough.
Hold on. We live in Scarborough.
I know!
No one covers more of the UK population than Cellnet. We let people who can't be together talk.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gazzetta Football Italia. We're down the CAF for part 2 of today's programme. We're on the menu. There's cake, obviously, a piping hot selection of news, plus, first of all, leftovers from last Sunday. And the game we begin with is Bologna against Sampdoria. Now, Bologna are a newly promoted side. However, they've been the surprise team of the season so far. And indeed, in this match, with a victory, they could move into the top 5 in Serie A. Let's find out what happened now with Gary Bloom.
Kefamba, French international. Veron, Mancini, Jacopino. Oh, terrific stop by the Bologna goalkeeper, Antonioli. And the former Milan #1 denies Jacopino. A very smart save indeed. It was moving away from the keeper all the while. So 0-0 at half-time between Bologna and Sampdoria. Really tough for Sampdoria in this second half. Bologna had the best defensive record in Italy's top 2 divisions last season. And they have made a very positive start to the new campaign. That's Anderson flicking it on. Fontelan. Marocchi. Fontelan. Bologna have the lead. They score right at the start of the second half. And Davide Fontelan with his second goal of the new campaign. Lovely interplay here between Fontelan and Marocchi. It might have even taken a deflection off Mihajlovic. Kenneth Anderson. Mihajlovic is a defender. This is Shalimov, the Bologna substitute. Oh, terrific strike by Shalimov. Bologna have the lead at 2-0 now. And all their pressure and persistence in this second half has paid off with a goal for Igor Shalimov, his first in 3 years in Serie A. Veron. Nervo. No foul, this is Mancini. Salsano. Yes, Sampdoria have a goal. Caparelli taps it in for his first Serie A goal. And Sampdoria keep the hope alive of claiming at least a point here in Bologna. Karamba. Shalimov. Karamba. We lashed out at Shalimov. The referee is reaching for his pocket and produced a red card. The Frenchman is off, and that won't help Sampdoria's cause one little bit. It really was an unnecessary piece of petulance here by Karamba.
So Bologna's impressive return to the top flight continues, as do Sampdoria's problems. Time now for the remaining 4 games from Sunday. It took Enrico Chiesa just 5 minutes to make his mark in Sardinia. The former Sampdoria striker has now scored 3 times in 5 league games for Parma. Moments later, an error by Matteo Villa presented Chiesa with another chance. This time, Swiss international Marco Pascolo made a fine save. At the other end, Luca Bucci was making a hash of things. Fortunately for him, Villa's spectacular effort flew just wide. Chiesa was a constant thorn in Cagliari's side. He was denied by the post on this occasion. In the end, Parma were grateful to Dario Silva for their win. The Uruguayan striker somehow failed to score from close range, and it ended 1-0. Napoli's hopes of victory were dented by Francesco Colonese's dismissal following a professional foul on Paolo Poggi. But things improved for the southern club. Fabio Pecchia gave them the lead. Napoli held on to their advantage thanks to 2 outstanding saves from Giuseppe Taglialatella. But the talented keeper was left motionless when Udinese finally drew level. Oliver Bierhoff got the vital touch for his 3rd goal in 3 games. The German international then displayed a side to his game not often seen. His foul on Roberto Ayala resulted in a red card. It was Napoli's 2nd successive home draw. Gianluigi Lentini nearly gave Atalanta the lead early on. But it was Perugia who broke the deadlock. Giacomo Di Cara was the scorer, and the entire team joined in the celebration. Perugia lived dangerously for the rest of the first half. Both Domenico Morfeo and Filippo Inzaghi might have equalized. Inzaghi did put Atalanta back on level terms 9 minutes before the break. It was his 5th Serie A goal of the season. Perugia regained the lead through their skipper Federico Giunti. It was the 25-year-old midfielder's first ever Serie A goal, and it'll live long in the memory. Perugia secured all 3 points with 10 minutes to go when Scro conceded a penalty. Allegri made the final score 3-1. Verona were awarded a penalty after just 2 minutes. Antonio De Vitis converted the spot kick to put the visitors ahead. Shortly afterwards, Reggiano were awarded a penalty. Sandro Tovaglieri scored his 6th goal in all competitions this season. In the second half, Filippo Maniero was unlucky not to put Verona ahead. Reggiano survived and then took the lead themselves, courtesy of Angelo Gregucci. Adolfo Valencia nearly extended the home side's advantage. Verona were then reduced to 10 men after Diego Cavazzan was dismissed for his second cautionable offence. But when all seemed lost, Verona claimed a late equaliser through their young defender Sebastiano Sevilla. It ended 2-2.
Well, that's the Week 5 fixtures sorted out. Don't forget, we'll have highlights from the various European games involving Italian clubs shortly. Right now, though, it is time for the news. And this week we begin with Arrigo Sacchi, a controversial choice really, since most people here would rather like to finish with him. Anyway, there's been an abundance of rumours this week that Sacchi's time in charge of the Italian national team may soon be at an end. After Italy's Euro 96 disaster, it was made clear that Sacchi's future in the job depended largely on last week's 2 World Cup qualifiers against Moldova and Georgia. Now, although the Italians did get 2 wins, their performances, as you may have seen last week, were pretty dismal. The second game was the worst, playing in Perugia against Georgia. The Azzurri scraped to a 1-0 victory in front of just 16,000 people. That's less than went to Sunday's Perugia-Atalanta game at the same stadium. So yet more disappointments for the Italians to swallow, and whilst as yet there's been no official reaction from the Italian Federation, they do now seem to be seeking a replacement coach at last. Very much the people's choice for the job is Paolo Maldini's dad, Cesare Maldini, who's coached Italy's under-21 side to 3 consecutive European championships. Surprisingly, though, according to the press, the favourite to fill Sacchi's shoes is someone quite different. Step forward, Dino Zoff, president, of course, of Lazio. And interestingly enough, the Lazio owner, Sergio Cragnotti, appeared to confirm this week that Zoff had been offered the job. Of course, what Dino Zoff is really famous for is his 22-year playing career. He was probably Italy's most successful goalkeeper ever, winning 6 titles at Juventus and defending the national team's goal in 112 matches, captaining, indeed, Italy to victory in the 1982 World Cup final. As a coach, his results have been slightly less spectacular. A UEFA Cup and a Coppa Italia won at Juventus, an unbeaten run with the Olympic football team, plus, of course, his 3 happy years managing Paul Gascoigne at Lazio, highest finished 3rd. All respectable enough, but there's no doubt that a move to the national team would pit Zoff against adversaries of an entirely different nature. Well, pits off, meanwhile, is of course exactly what most Italians would like Sacchi to do right now, as indeed a survey in La Repubblica confirmed this week. But hang on, you say, isn't Sacchi tied to the national squad with a contract until autumn 1998? And isn't it almost as big as Paul Ince's monthly Smarties bill? Well, yes, on both counts. However, this week came a possible solution. For some time now, there have been rumours of talks between Sacchi and AC Milan, the club where, of course, he became famous. Now, the way things are going for their current coach, Oscar Washington de Barres, Milan could well be needing a new coach soon. And who better than Sacchi, the man who, after all, won them countless titles in the late 80s and early 90s. Clearly, too, were Sacchi to return to Milan, the Federation wouldn't have to honour his immense contract either. Well, it's a story that Milan have repeatedly denied this week, but it's fascinating stuff nonetheless. Anyway, we move on now to our transfer rumours for the week, the first of which is a report that Christian Ziege could soon be moving to Italy. Ziege, the Bayern Munich and Germany left-back, is one of Europe's most in-demand players, with several English clubs on his trail amongst others. Bayern Munich, though, have always insisted he's not for sale. It was a bit of a surprise then when Ziege himself announced this week that he's in talks with Juve to move there for the 97-98 season. He views their £1 million a season offer as positive, as well he might. Anyway, on the rather more immediate horizon, Parma have been as busy as ever. Last week they put a deal in place for Mario Stanic, the Croatian international currently at Bruges. Stanic is a multi-purpose midfielder and a very handy one too. He was top scorer in Belgium last year. Last time we looked was leading the scoring charts again this season. Blocking the transfer though at the moment is the fact that Parma already have 3 non-EEC players on their books, which is the most you're allowed, and thus to bring in Stanic, someone will have to go. More news on that next week, no doubt. Anyway, for our last story this morning, it's time to get the latest from Perugia, where the increasingly dramatic standoff between the club's president and the club's coach left one man in hospital this week. To quickly recap the situation, President Gauci and Coach Gaglioni have been at each other's throats since the summer. 2 weeks ago, matters hit an all-time low when Perugia were knocked out of the Coppa Italia by a third division side. President Gauci immediately slung the team into a 10-day lock-up training camp, vowing that if they didn't win their next game, not only would they not be allowed home, but he'd fire Coach Gaglioni to boot. Well, win Perugia did on Sunday, as we've seen. However, it didn't help much. Bitter arguments followed on Sunday night, with Gauci then declaring that from now on, every game was decisive for Coach Gaglioni's future. After all of which, perhaps not surprisingly, Gaglioni was rushed to hospital on Monday night, doctors treating him for pains in the chest, although it sounds like they should have looked a little further down. Anyway, acute angina caused by stress was the diagnosis. Thankfully now, after a few days of worry and several touching messages of support from his players, Gaglioni has been declared fit again to return to the Perugia bench. And as it turns out, the story has a silver lining, because it seems that last Monday's hospital scare has helped to put everything into perspective and bring everyone at Perugia that much closer together. President Gauci indeed sending a warm and fuzzy letter to his stricken coach this Wednesday, assuring him that his job is now safe and that underneath it all, he thinks he's a special fella. So no doubt he'll be gone by next week. Anyway, that's it from the papers for now, as the one inmate of the newly privatised prison said to the other, time now for a break. We'll be back shortly, though, with the misadventures of the Italian clubs in Europe this midweek, plus further chat, Paul Ince.
How did Pantene celebrate winning Best Hair Product in the Marie Claire Health and Beauty Awards? We let our hair down. Pantene Pro V.
Everyone is different. That's why Bupa can reward you with a choice of extra benefits. Call 0800 600 500 now.
I think I'll drive to work today. Mrs. Jones.
Fine. Mr. Jones.
Good morning, Mr. Jones.
Good morning, Mrs. Jones.
New Double Chocolate Magnum. New Double Chocolate Magnum. Now you'll love it twice as much.
The ambassadors' receptions are noted in society for their host's exquisite taste that captivates his guests. Ferrero Rocher.
好吃极了。
Eccellente.
Monsieur, où est Ferrero Rocher? You're spoiling us.
Ferrero Rocher, a sign of good taste.
The body is new. The body is power. The body is strong. The body is.
If you think that's strong, Chuck, try lifting one of these. Hey, Tarquil, your trolleys aren't right way round.
New Manchester Gold from Boddington's.
Get ready to go ballistic with the hottest action-packed movie of the year. Travolta, Slater, Broken Arrow.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gazzetta Football Italia. Back inside Paul Ince's palatial apartment for part 3 of this week's show, in which shortly we'll be bringing you highlights of the 6 European matches featuring Italian clubs this midweek. First of all, though, a bit of a chat from Paul, who's just, of course, returned from international duty against Poland. Not a stellar match, Paul, but a very good performance from your good self.
Yeah, I did OK. Modest that I am. Yeah. But no, seriously, the game wasn't the best, you know, and to be honest, Poland played very, very well. And they caught us by a bit surprised at how good they were on the ball, how confident they were, and the fact that they were coming to Wembley. And they haven't won there for so many years, you know. But saying that, we didn't play well and didn't do ourselves justice on the night. But we battled well as a team, and we showed great spirit. And ended up getting the points, which is the most important thing, James.
Yeah, great atmosphere. I mean, unusual Wembley sold out for a non-tournament game.
Yeah, but I think after the euphoria of 96, where we had a full house every time we played at Wembley. And it's just carried on from there, which is good for us. It's good for the boss, Glenn Hoddle. You know, it wouldn't be nice that England's taken over by a new boss and you only get like 10,000 people there for the first game. So the fact that it was a full house, you know, was good for him, and good that the whole nation is behind him and us as a team for the World Cup finals.
Italy only got 16,000, which is about a fifth of what. I mean, obviously Perugia Stadium where they were playing was like slightly smaller, but even Armenia got a bigger crowd than Italy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's strange, really. I think at the moment, I'm not going to say things aren't looking too good for Italy because they've won the 2 games and all, but there seems to be a lot of unrest. Yeah. Amongst the nation.
Well, they're second in the group behind you, aren't they?
Yeah, they're second in the group behind us, and we've got to play them in February at Wembley.
Right, and you're on the record as saying that you think that England are going to beat Italy.
Well, I think, am I on record saying that, am I?
It's in the papers, Paul.
Is it in the papers?
Yeah.
Well, I hope we're going to beat Italy. You know, I think, I'm not going to say we definitely are, because that'd be stupid for me to say, but I hope we beat Italy. But that's a long way off first. We've got to go to Georgia, you know, next month in November and take it from there.
Well, of course, Paul was in action, of course, this midweek in the UEFA Cup as Inter took on Casino Graz, one of 6 Italian clubs in action on the continent. Let's find out how they all got on now, starting off with that Inter game, and Kenneth Wolstenholme.
Inter have found goals hard to come by this season. Ivan Zamorano is still waiting for his first goal for his new club since moving from Real Madrid. Roy Hodgson has constantly varied his pairing in attack, but still he hasn't found the right formula. Here Branca set up Zanetti, who brought out an outstanding save from Manninger. The young Argentine was left cursing the Austrian goalkeeper, who excelled again when he denied Branca in the second half. Inter just couldn't find a way through. Jocelyn Anglemar was Inter's most impressive player on the night. The Frenchman's power, pace and passion were all in evidence. However, it was a pity his colleagues failed to match his positive display. After Branca was again kept out by Manninger, it seemed Inter would have to settle for a disappointing goalless draw. Gans had come on by this time as Hodgson's side endeavoured to increase the pressure on their opponents. The winner finally arrived with 9 minutes left. Anglemar claimed it to provide a fitting end to the game. Sadly for him, an injury sustained while scoring this goal may rule him out of Inter's clash against Juventus tomorrow. Elsewhere in the UEFA Cup, mixed fortunes for Rome's Big Two. In Germany, Roma were on the wrong end of a 3-goal thrashing. The Giallorossi now need something special in the second leg if their European campaign is to continue. City neighbours Lazio also face a tricky return leg, but at least they'll go to Spain with a slender advantage. In the Cup Winners' Cup, Fiorentina conceded a late away goal, and they also face a tough time in the return leg. So a mixed week for Italian clubs in the knockout competitions. In the Champions League, Milan were aiming to continue the recovery which began in Norway a fortnight ago and complete a Scandinavian double at the expense of Swedish champions Gothenburg. Commentary from Gary Bloom.
Weah. On to Simone, and away goes the return now. Here's George Weah. Oh! It just brushed the outside of the upright. George Weah desperately close to the opening goal of the game. Locatelli. Simone. Ooh, look at this run here by Locatelli. Oh, what a splendid save by Ravelli. Blomqvist. Blomqvist has it back again. And this is Erling Mark. Brushes aside Maldini. And Rossi spilled the ball. And Milan desperately lucky to get away with that. Magnus Erling Mark got the better of Maldini. Not too many footballers manage that these days. This very wet surface has caused problems. And again, this is Weah. Lukic tries to get back. Weah, 1-0 to Milan. 8 goals now in his last 8 games in all competitions. It's his 3rd in the Champions League. And Milan can breathe easily. Albertini, Weah. Slid through to Simone. Can he make it 2? Oh, good save by Ravelli. Came off Olsen. It wasn't an easy stop for the Swedish keeper. And Simone threatens to take Milan into an unassailable lead. He was beaten in the air. Alexanderson tries to win it. Oh, Alexanderson's got it back now. He's turned Maldini, and again. Molstadt, 1-1. He's only been on the field a minute. And he draws the sides level with 15 minutes left. Terrific run here by Alexanderson. Wrong-footed Maldini once, then again. And the cross was plumb onto the head of Wallstadt. Panucci left that one. This is Blomqvist. Dear, some of this Milan defending is disappointing. Alexanderson's onside here, and he scores for Gothenburg, who are in front with 5 minutes left. Well, these fans were celebrating the Swedish title at the weekend. Now they could be celebrating beating the mighty Milan. And the slow-motion replay shows Alexanderson was onside. Gothenburg 2, Milan 1. And Milan find a late equaliser. Boban! Oh, it could have gone anywhere. Ravelli is a relieved goalkeeper after this shot from Boban ricocheted wide.
So another blow for Milan in their second defeat in 5 days. Elsewhere in Group D, Porto's win in Norway means the Portuguese champions are the first team assured of a place in the quarter-finals. Meanwhile, Milan have a real fight on their hands. In Group C, Juventus have far fewer problems. The latest stage of their Champions League defence saw Marcello Lippi's side visit the Austrian champions, Rapid Vienna. Juventus were hoping to make it a hat-trick of victories in the Champions League, and the Turin giants got off to an ideal start. Alan Boksic almost scored his 3rd European goal in as many matches. Instead, it was Christian Vieri who scored his 3rd goal of the season. Konsel did well to keep out the Croatian. Vieri showed some clever footwork before finding the Austrian net. Juve went ahead after 9 minutes, but were pegged back just 10 minutes later. Lesiak drilled his free kick through the Juventus wall and past Rampula. Juventus have been wasting far too many chances this season, and it was a familiar story in Vienna. Still, Konsel must take credit here for denying both Boksic and Vieri. The Austrians were grateful not only to their goalkeeper for keeping them in the game, but also the referee. He somehow failed to see a clear foul on Tacchinardi, which would have resulted in a penalty. In the meantime, Consul continued to defy Juventus. Padovano couldn't quite believe it. Consul wasn't called on to make a save when the European champions wasted their last noteworthy effort to win this game. Jugovic failed to end his fine run with a finish to match. His reaction summed up Juve's evening. Manchester United's win in Turkey means they, like Juve, just need a win in a fortnight's time to assure a quarter-final place. The clash between the English and Italian champions at Old Trafford in a month's time should decide who wins the group. And it's worth remembering that whoever finishes top of Group C could well be facing Milan in the last 8.
So it's all going Group C then, Paul. You know, Manchester United bouncing back after a disappointing start, and you know they and Juve both look pretty much through now.
Yeah, I think so. I think at the start they were the two teams that you expected to go through, and it's proven so. You know, they might not got off to a shaky start, losing 1-0 at Juventus, and but they've come on strong since then and won their last 2 games. You know, and they both should qualify for the quarterfinals, and it should be interesting after that.
Should be, yeah. What about Inter, whose performance against Casino Graz wasn't received terribly rapturously?
No, well, I don't really, I'm not really interested in what other people have got to say and what other people's opinions are on the game.
Your opinion on the game?
My opinion on the game is that we didn't play well. You know, it's never easy when you play these other sides who've been come and play 10 men behind the ball. And we're just lucky that we got a goal from Angela, which is a great goal. To just give us something to take back to Austria in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay, well, moving back anyway to Serie A, because there is a big game for you guys tomorrow, which, as we explained earlier, you're probably almost certainly not going to be playing in because of the unfortunate events of last Sunday. It is the acid test for Inter after an easy start to the season.
At the moment, we've not played very well, you know, even though we're top of the table. But of course, you know, I want to win the championship, you know, more than anybody else, you know. But I think, as you said, the acid test would be when we play Juventus, Parma, Fiorentina and Milan. If after those 4 games we could still be top of the table, then it gives everybody a huge lift. And then we can start believing or thinking that we can win the title. That's our main objective, to just take each game at a time, week by week.
Wise words. It's your birthday on Monday, isn't it?
Whose?
It's your birthday on Monday, isn't it, Paul?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm 29 years of age.
Are you?
Yes, I'm getting older, James.
Yeah, well,
You're as old as you, James, is that right?
Almost, yeah,
Almost.
catching up. Were you doing anything special?
Yeah, I think I'm going golf. That's special.
Yes.
No, I don't know
We're
what I'm doing,
romantic,
James. You know, look, depends on the result. You know, if we can win at Juventus, then I'll be in good spirits and I'll be wanting to do something on my birthday. You know, I have to wait and see.
Right. Have you asked for anything special?
No, I don't know what I've got, to be honest. You know, my wife Claire hasn't told me what I've got, but or if I've got anything, James. But you remember I bought...
You're not big on presents in your family?
No, as you remember from last time. I didn't get my wife anything last time, so... No, she always gets me something, so I'll be expecting something on my birthday.
Right.
You know, so we just have to wait and see, James. And hopefully you got me something too, James. We've been very close the last year, you know. It's been,
best of luck.
You know.
Anyway, well, you've got a big game tomorrow night, or you personally don't probably have anything tomorrow night. But anyway, Inter, a big game for them tomorrow night. We, tomorrow afternoon, will be bringing you for our live presentation of Milan against Napoli, and we'll be speaking more about that in a couple of minutes' time. First of all, here's a rundown on all of the week's standings with Ken.
Last weekend's shock defeat for Milan and Juventus allowed Paul Ince and his Internazionale teammates to move clear at the top for the first time in 5 years. Meanwhile, wins for Roma, Parma and Bologna saw them move level with Juve and to within 1 point of first place. At the bottom, surprise strugglers Fiorentina and Lazio both moved up a place after their goalless draw in Florence. Elsewhere, Perugia rose to mid-table, Vicenza and Cagliari both slipped a couple of places, while Reggiana, Atalanta and Verona remained rooted to the foot of the table. Last weekend saw George Weah draw his first blank of the season, which allowed Vicenza's Marcelo Otero and Atalanta's Filippo Inzaghi to grab a share of top spot in the scoring charts. Roma's Abel Balbo was also on target last weekend. He moves to within 1 goal of the leading pack. Tomorrow afternoon, Balbo and Roma will be aiming for more goals and maximum points at rock-bottom Verona. Parma will be expecting a similar result at home to newly promoted Perugia, while Bologna will be looking to keep their impressive return to the top flight going at the expense of Fiorentina. Biggest game of the day, though, sees league leaders Inter visit the reigning European champions, Juventus, in Italy's live evening match. After last week's shock setback in Vicenza, Juve will be looking to get back to winning ways tomorrow night and, in the process, reclaim at least a share of first place in the table. You can see extended highlights of that crucial game in next week's Gazzetta. And tomorrow you can see every moment from the biggest game of the afternoon as we broadcast Milan versus Napoli live from the San Siro. James has the background on the match.
That's right, Ken. Tomorrow afternoon in our live show, we bring you the latest stage in what is Serie A's hottest debate. What is going on at Milan? So far this season, we've seen 2 live games involving the reigning Italian champions, and on both occasions, Milan have proved beyond all reasonable doubt that a game does indeed have 2 halves. Against both Verona and Bologna, the Rossoneri spent 45 minutes in disarray, and by the break, it seemed we were in for a real shock. By the end, though, both games had seen normal service restored as Milan returned to form with typically lethal consequences. And the ever-changing moods don't stop there. Whilst last season, under Fabio Capello, the Rossoneri lost just 5 times in 46 matches, this time around they've already lost 4 games in their opening 8 competitive matches, 2 of those coming in the last 7 days. So why the sudden crisis? Well, despite questions about coach Oscar Washington Tabares and the desire of a squad possibly spoiled by success, nothing really adds up. The personnel and tactics, after all, which saw the Rossoneri cruise to last season's championship, have remained pretty much unchanged. So Milan are something of a conundrum, devastating one moment, dreadful the next. And there could well be further puzzles to unravel tomorrow afternoon as Milan's squad of superstars pit their wits against a Napoli side currently on something of a high. Admittedly, Napoli aren't celebrating that impressive a start to the season. Solid rather than spectacular, they're currently holding down a comfortable berth in mid-table. However, and this is the big news, they're also financially comfortable. Despite going into the 90s as reigning champions of Italy, it soon became apparent that the success had been achieved through excess, and the Maradona years had a heavy price, the club indeed coming into debts totalling some £40 million. Now, in the 5 years since, Napoli have fought a desperate battle against extinction. Every season, the club has sold off its best players. Every year, against all odds, a new squad has been assembled and the club's Serie A survival assured. But now, that enforced era of austerity is over. 3 weeks ago, Napoli announced they had cleared their debts and could finally start looking to the future. Thus, with a new coach and a promising new squad, the fallen giants of the south are looking for a swift return to the forefront of the Italian game. Tomorrow afternoon, they'll be looking to announce that comeback to a worldwide TV audience. So, an intriguing contest in prospect. And if you need any further persuading to tune in, just remember what happened last time we saw Milan at the San Siro.